Jova.
Oh my god.
Again,
Gamarjova.
Gamarjova.
Yes, that was really good. Kamarjoba. Hello. Well, thank you for having me, and that was really nice to hear.
Can you tell us how do you pronounce Georgia in Georgian?
Yeah, it's pronounced Sakartvelo.
It's a hard one.
And do you have such hard names for every country?
Well, it is different. Some of the countries are different from English language or any other Latin languages or Slavic, obviously. But it's still under some logic. Like it's still close to some like original ones, but like Georgia and Sakatelo is completely different, as you see. But yeah, we do have some weird ones. Yeah.
Oh, and what does Georgia mean in Georgian?
They actually like the land, the people who were living since ever were Kartvelians, and the Sakartvelo is just the land of the Kartvelians. And Kartvelians are the
Oh.
first people like who has ever lived in Georgia. So yes.
And are you proud of these people? Like, do you feel pride when you talk about these people which I cannot pronounce?
Well, it's important to mention that like every Georgian has a pride. Well, when it comes to history, yes, totally. That like we are super proud that we are such an old country with a long history and so on and so on. But not particularly when you say Sakartvelo because it comes very naturally. We don't even realize that what's behind all this world, but all this work. But obviously, history is a huge thing that we are proud of.
When I did my research, I watched a video and oh my god, like what happened there? It was so many things. Like in 1,000 years, it was like
Lots of wars. Lots of wars.
yeah.
Yes, totally.
But you managed really well to navigate, and you were still like existing between the Persian Empire, the Byzantium Empire, the Ottoman Empire, like and the Mongols.
Yes.
Like, good job.
Very small, strong, and flexible. Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. And I heard about that woman that was queen of Georgia, and Georgia was like really enormous.
Yeah. Queen Tamari. That's true. Yes. She is an ultimate queen, and now she's a saint
Ooh,
uh, of Georgia. Yes.
so cool.
Also, the woman we are really proud of, obviously, and the golden years of Georgia, basically. One of them.
Yeah, so cool. Like a
Yeah.
really, really strong woman. Not many women in the world, I think, can. We can say this about many women.
And
It's
especially in the past, in such a distant past.
Yes, that is true. That is kind of the genesis of the feminists from Georgian side, we could say. Not really, but hey, we can call it that way.
last time when we met, we talked about the techno scene in Georgia, which is
Mhm.
enormous, and I've read some stuff about it. But can you tell us more?
Yes, well, it is a huge thing in Georgia, and I think it started from 2015, 16, could be even earlier, I don't know. But actively I joined like after 2017. So it is a huge thing. It is a what we call is political dance because people who are very much involved in techno scene in Georgia and people who are actually leading the techno scenes and owning the clubs in Georgia are very also very political. And it has always been since the beginning very political against government and against the rules, which is against human rights. So and I think the only thing is that like we all know that when we're talking about techno scene, it's first comes Berlin, like Germany, Switzerland. These are the countries like 1990s technos where like everything was so fresh. So like Georgia is going through with this now. So like this is like 90s of Berlin in Georgia, and we are trying to dance, because one of the most famous phrases, like, we dance because we don't know what's gonna be tomorrow. We dance like there is no tomorrow, because yeah, some things are not really good politically in Georgia, I would say that. And when you have to express yourself somewhere, it's gotta be the place you are most accepted. And that happened to be the techno scene in Georgia, where everyone was welcomed in the safe one huge space. So it became a thing, and it is still a thing, obviously. Well, now not a COVID because of COVID, but I hope that it's still gonna be someday.
And how do you feel? How do you feel about this movement? Do you identify yourself with it?
Yes, I do. I totally do, because the values and the interest they have, obviously, is really close to me, and this is the generation that represents me. These are the people that have been through all this that I have been through. So, like, this is kind of the voice of my age, for people from my age, who are willing to break the borders, and who are willing to just prove themselves, and who are willing to have make space for other people and make country more acceptable. So I totally identify, yes. Not maybe 100%. There are some things you cannot identify yourself with 100% with things, but yes, if I had to answer yes or no, I do, yes.
That's so cool. So it's a driver of
Totally.
change.
It's
So
called
so that's
white noise movement, what we call in
why.
Georgia, because this we are making a noise. It is a huge deal. We are loud about things, but it is white. It is not black. It is not red. It's not bloody or dark. It is just white, and white comes in a piece. So, like, we are coming from peace, obviously.
Yeah. But can you see some change happening?
Yes, I do see, like, the most important change that I saw ever with the techno scene was, that this is the we are when we are talking about Georgia, this is a post-Soviet country, and this has to be this has to do a lot with church as well, country with lots of religious people, country with, like, values that come from post-Soviet and the dark times after post-Soviet, like like late 90s and early 2000s. And these are the people who grew up in, like, I don't know, in violence, basically, and it was really in hunger sometimes. And obviously it affects the way people behaved, and how violent or aggressive people were. And on the other hand, we have these people who are really aggressive and very conservative and not acceptance to new things. And on the other side, we have the people who are like open for new things, like queer people, like people who are extremely left and liberals. And you see on the club scene that those two people dancing together next to each other, and they are not fighting, rather they are just dancing, and they just close their eyes and they exist in the same place. So that is the most obvious change I ever seen after techno scene, because we would never imagine, like, somebody expressing themselves, like people like transgenders or queer people generally, like expressing themselves fully next to the people who are and who has been this conservative since ever, and who grew up in this environment. So that is already a change, yes.
Wow.
So we could say that the techno scene in Georgia is the common ground of Georgia.
Totally.
Mm.
But it, yeah, and it unites the people so much. Like I was not expecting that,
Yes.
honestly. Because when you dance, you are yourself. Like you just write the music, and you can be
Yes.
really yourself. That's
Yes,
so cool.
I find it really fascinating, and I could not imagine either that there should would be something that will unite two very different people and just like to peacefully live together. Maybe not after that techno scene, but still on while they're dancing and having wild nights while expressing themselves with the dance. It's still peaceful.
So cool. So what are, can you suggest us three clubs that
Yes.
you really like?
So first one,
Intro.
it got to be Bastiani, and that is named after the war in Georgia. We are one of the war we won. And second one is Kvarze, which is also in Tbilisi at the river. In Kvari is river, and this club is directly on the river. So Kvarze it basically is on the river, on this river. And the third one, it got to be in the west of Georgia, not in capital in Kutaisi. It's called Reflector. Yes. So those three clubs, and there are a couple more, but those could be my highlights. Yeah, you got to go there if you are ever in Georgia, and if you want to, like on Bassiani, it's a policy that like they try to make a safe space for everyone, obviously, and they have the queer nights as well, and you can get a verification on online website, so you make sure that you got the ticket and you go in the club. So the face control is quite a thing too, because it takes a
Wow.
lot to make sure that the space is safe for everyone.
But when you said that you dance there, that there is no tomorrow, like why do you say this? Like, is it just as a expression, just because like you give everything of yourself and you just live in the moment, or actually in fear of something?
Yes, because the outside world is much scarier. Well, I think than in the club, and whenever you go there, you just give all your things like that, and you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what's gonna be tomorrow. You don't know who's gonna. The in 2018 they attack also the main club Pasiani, the police also, and it was a pretty hard thing. And after this, there was a demonstration, and they claimed because it was of that people who were selling drugs, but they could not find anyone or anything so far. So after that, it came to the topic that like you dance like there is no tomorrow, because you don't know when police is gonna come in and tell you to stop dancing while you are in the middle of the night, I don't know, 4 a.m., and you just dance in the dark, and you know that it's a safe place, but it cannot be any more.
So it's also an act of bravery at some point. Oh, this is so,
Deep.
yeah, this is very deep.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I am very proud of the people who are uh, currently in Georgia or who has been there in Georgia. And back then, when it happened, also I was not there in 2018. I was in Poland, and when I saw it, like I was just reading and like 24/7 watching all the videos and lives that I could find what was going on. But it is brave because yeah, like people are selfish, I am selfish, and I care about my well-being, and to stay there and to the protest and demonstrate against the things that should not be happening, and just not wasting, but sometimes it's a waste, sometimes it's not, sometimes it gives a result, but the years, or I don't know, many years or months or days or things that could have been much better for yourself personally. So it is great to be there and to try to change the
Yes.
reality.
It's okay. I wanted to see that at every podcast we had until now, we got into some subjects which we didn't know so well about. And each time we have this feeling like, wow. And we just sit back and think, and like, we don't want to say anything more because
Yeah.
what else can you say after you find out things like this?
Yeah, because personally, I didn't imagine that something like this can happen, and that actually the disco, the techno place, can be really a driver of change and a real driver of change. So police even comes so they can oppress the people who are there. So it's really it's having an effect
Hmm.
among the people, and it's not just like background noise or something. So it's really fascinating.
Dili has prepared the list with questions, and on our list, on the top, it says Georgia, the best kept secret of Europe. And it's true because I don't know how many people, like, of course, you heard of Georgia, but how many people actually know what is Georgia or where is Georgia? Like, I don't know. I haven't heard so much about it until I met you. And not even now, I cannot tell that I know things about it. And our question would be, what do you think when you hear Georgia or when you think about Georgia? What comes to your mind?
Well, personally, me, I got to say it's always about the people I know about the Georgia. It's so, but like when somebody else asks me about the Georgia, then my mind directly goes to the people like who like foreigners who have been in Georgia and telling me all these great things they have been experienced because first it's different that you being in Georgia and you grew up in Georgia and you've been there forever, but like then what I have seen or heard from the people, I would tell you that like now when somebody tells me why I should go to Georgia, I'm telling like why Georgia, that it is good great food that everyone says it is a great wine, and people say that wine is cheaper than water. I don't know. So it is apparently and I think the highlight got to be people in Georgia because we are really loving the guests. So like we really do love guests. We really love people who come far and people who are interesting. We are really open to open our doors and invite you and to stay there forever, I don't know, and make you eat all the food we cook. And even though if you are just full of this food and you don't want to eat, but just like we made you eat because we want you to eat and be happy. So I think that that must be the highlight because like genuine honesty and hospitality that people are showing to foreigners. It got to be it's like, and I'm talking about like not like touristic side of the Georgia, like now it's improving, and I think it is losing the charm of Georgia, like when it's like super touristy and like services and stuff, but like mostly it's all about like simple people who just want you to make you feel like you are home. And in Georgia, well, I said already that we are really religious people, and since I've been born, and I have heard forever that like the guest is from the God, so everyone says that. So like and we all know in the religious countries how important is God, obviously. So, like, and anyone coming from the God is as important as the religion and as the values of the country. So, yeah, it must be it, the people and the hospitality, I got to say, and good wine and good food and cheap prices.
Oh, now I want to come. I want to go to
That's what
Georgia.
everyone says after I tell them about Georgia.
I think it's a good time for the wine question. He just prepared the ground. Just shot it.
Actually, whenever I was researching, I will tell this again. Uh, that the Georgia is actually the birthplace of wine, and it was created like more than 8,000 years ago. This was so fascinating. So just France and Italy can go aside and make space to Georgia, please,
We did
because
it first.
Maybe at first.
And this is another thing which I haven't heard about. Like, never
Hmm.
heard about Georgian wine. Do you have, like, is it a thing for you in your country?
It is
The
a
wine.
huge, huge, huge thing. The wine is, I don't know, as I said, wine is everywhere. Wine is cheaper than water. People drink wine like water in Georgia. Wine is in every family you go to Georgia. There is no family and you cannot find, like, it got to be weird if you go to the family and there is no wine. That's like, I don't know, it's like going to the German family and not finding a beer, which is like you don't find it. So like it's same and even more. So like, and as I was kid, we were even making wine. My family was making wine, and in my village, I grew up in the village, and everyone used to make their own wine. So it's not about just like huge thing that the countries wine making, just like people also like make it by like themselves, like they're doing it for themselves, not only just selling, because it's such a culture and it's such a tradition that it got to be there.
Yeah, so cool. That's really nice. Oh, when you say childhood, can you tell us a memory of your childhood? Something that comes up to your mind.
Oh yes.
Something
Well, actually,
nice.
funny thing is like it's 12th of April. It's my grandma's birthday, and I wrote her letter, and in my letter I said something like that. Like if I was 7 years old, I would go to the field full of flowers. Which was, I don't know, 500 meters, and I would take the flowers for you and write with the violet pencil the happy birthday card and put the flowers next to your bedroom, and with my horrible handwriting back then, um, and you would be excited to you to wake up and tell me how beautiful it is and how thankful she is that I got her this flower. So that might be it, because that was every time me being so excited for the like that field and run is when in the fields, when especially I was pretty afraid of the bugs in the field, but I would just run with this excitement to see these flowers and to get them for my grandma and wish her happy birthday. So that came to my mind right now because I just wrote them a letter about it later. So yes, that must be it.